So when you are looking at your sleep, it's not the total sleep that matters. It's the quality of sleep. Somebody telling you to go to sleep is easier said than done, because especially for women over 40, sleeping all the way through, getting that good REM, getting that deep is very difficult. On this video, we are going to go through a bedtime routine that is going to absolutely change the way you drop weight. And it's simple. And I want to dive in not only to drinking this one cup before you go to bed, but I really want to talk about why sleeping, your bedtime routine, all of that really matters for weight loss. And again, I hear you all. I know so many of you are struggling to lose weight, especially around the belly. So I keep bringing you things from as many angles as I can to give you some really clear guidelines on how to drop weight. So let's dive in as we understand together, like, why is sleep the place that you lose weight? I want to start here, and there's some really interesting science that I'm going to lay out for you. But I want you to really think about sleep as where is the place your body repairs. So if you're not sleeping, your body's not repairing. Okay, so that's the first thing to know. The second thing is I want to keep bringing back to you all this idea of why does our body accumulate weight? And one of the big reasons is because it's a storage pantry. It's a place for excess. So it's excess glucose when we're insulin resistant. It's excess toxins when we've been exposed, had too much of a toxic load. It's excess hormones. This is really clear with men that gain belly weight, and the man boobs can sometimes be actually too much toxic estrogen in things like colognes and lotions, even some of the more fake foods that are laden with chemicals. So you got to have like a real clear understanding that the body is always working for you. And when you are starting to gain weight, it wants to keep you alive. And so what it'll do is store all this excess in places that are better for your survival. But that doesn't mean it's better for your bathing suit or better for your scale. It's just that your body figured out a way to deal with this. So when we go to sleep, you are giving your body a really key resource to be able to heal itself. So at night, it will go find that excess and it will start to dump it and it will start to move it through your system. So sleep is this powerful tool for letting your body handle all the extra stress that it accumulated throughout the day. This is why it's so important. There was a 2021 study done by the International Journal of Obesity, and it had over 125 overweight people prioritize their sleep for over 12 months. And what they found is that there was a strong link between poor sleep quality and an inability to lose weight. So this study was really what they were looking for, was to see, is there a correlation? If somebody actually prioritizes their sleep over 12 months, will they start to see that they can actually lose weight? And that was the only hypothesis that they had for this study was, is there a correlation? And absolutely, they saw a very strong link between sleep quality. And I'm going to talk about sleep quality here in a moment, and fat loss. We also have a 2012 study in the Obesity Journal that tracked 198 women. So this is a big one because these are the female studies who were trying to lose weight. And they found that women with lower sleep scores lost 33% less weight and reported more fatigue and greater hunger during the day because they didn't sleep as well. So let's talk about sleep quality for a moment. There are two parts of sleep quality that you really want to hone in on. One is what we call REM sleep, and the other is deep sleep. REM sleep, you should be getting about 90 minutes of REM sleep every night. And REM sleep is how we organize the information that our brains took in during the day. REM sleep is where we emotionally regulate ourselves as we're sleeping. And you want at least 90 minutes of this. Now, I know some of you are going to go, well, how do I know if I'm getting REM sleep or not? This is where some of those biometric wearables can come in. There's great ones out there like Aura, an Aura Ring, and the Whoop Band. Both of those are amazing. We'll leave links for any discounts that we have on those companies. I'll leave those links in the show notes. But some of you have Fitbits. Some of you have other ways of measuring it. So when you are looking at your sleep, it's not the total sleep that matters. It's the quality of sleep. And with REM sleep, we need at least 90 minutes. The more REM sleep, the better. The second part of sleep that we're looking at, and this really comes in when we're looking at weight loss, and that's deep sleep. And deep sleep is where our brains actually shrink at night, and the cerebral spinal fluid from your spine goes up and washes your brain and pulls out the toxins that are affecting your brain and gets it out of your system. So deep sleep is a highly detoxing type of sleep, which is really important for weight loss, because remember, a lot of weight gain is that excess toxins that your body is putting into fat. And remember, our brains are fat. A good portion of them is fat. So when at night, your cerebral spinal fluid is going up there, washing the brain, rinsing out this fat or the toxins in your brain that are attached to the fat and getting it out of your system. So with deep sleep, we want about an hour. The couple of things that will affect both REM sleep and deep sleep. So let me start with REM sleep. One of the major things that affects REM sleep is stress. So if you are finding that you are having stressful conversations, you are doing work right up till the end, right before you go to bed, or you're finding yourself in difficult conversations, maybe right before you go to bed, that is going to affect your REM sleep. There also has been some really interesting emerging science around the blue lights that we get from our phones and our computers that can affect REM sleep. So like, for example, I have switched all my computers over to dark mode. So like right now I'm looking at my screen, it's in a dark mode screen so that I can make sure that I don't get highly influenced by the blue light that will affect this part of my sleep, the REM sleep. Deep sleep's really affected by alcohol. So I'm going to bring this up because I know that there's a lot of different theories on alcohol. I've done some interesting videos on alcohol. I'm not here to tell you that absolutely alcohol is horrible for you. It's a poison. I get it. It's not great for the brain. But like I've said, there are moments when you're sitting with a glass of wine with people you love around a dinner, and there's something really enjoyable and actually healthy about that. But when we are drinking alcohol right close up to our bedtime, you are affecting deep sleep. So with that, what ends up happening is your brain cannot detox. It doesn't know how to be able to wash itself clean because it's dealing with the alcohol poison. So what you want to do is try to have your alcohol a little bit earlier in the day so it doesn't butt up against that sleep time. So with that in mind, we know that sleep is really important for burning fat. I'm going to talk even more about that in a moment. We know that with these two studies, they're talking not about total sleep, but they're talking about quality of sleep, which is really has to do with REM and deep. We know there are behaviors we do that affect those two. So why is it then, if we don't get good quality sleep, why is it that we start to gain weight? Well, there's we dial into that, there's a couple of reasons. And the main reason is really our hormonal balance. So there's a 2022 study that was done in the Federation of European Biochemists Society's journal. And it found that sleep strongly regulates two hormones that I don't think we talk enough about here on my channel. So I'm going to really bring these back to you all. Sleep affects ghrelin and leptin. Now, when it comes to appetite, these two hormones have a profound effect on your appetite. So ghrelin is the hormone that makes you feel hungry. High levels of ghrelin is going to mean more hunger. So this 2022 study found that when we have poor sleep, our ghrelin levels go up, increasing our appetite and food cravings. The same time, when we have poor quality sleep, is leptin goes down. Leptin is that hormone that tells you are full. So when we see, and it also is the hormone, by the way, that tells your body it needs to ramp up its metabolism to burn fat. So when we're not sleeping, we're increasing, we're not detoxing, if we're not getting that REM and deep, we're not getting brain repair, we're increasing our hunger hormone, and we're decreasing the fat burning hormone that also tells us we are full. So what that means is that overall, a lack of sleep can lead to more snacking. In fact, there was a 2022 review in Nutrients journal that found sleep deprivation, so people who've really skimped on sleep, led to more snacking during the day. So when we put all these things together, can you see that there's a mixture of hormonal reactions and there is a mixture of the body not feeling safe enough to detox itself, not having the proper environment to be able to repair itself. And when we put that all together, we start to see weight gain. This is why those of you that are really struggling with weight loss, especially around the belly, I want you to prioritize sleep. Now, if you're like me, or you're a menopausal woman or a perimenopausal woman, sometimes just somebody telling you to go to sleep is easier said than done. And, put in the comments if you've struggled with sleep, because especially for women over 40, sleeping all the way through, getting that good REM, getting that deep is very difficult. So you mix that for my menopausal women with a decline in progesterone. Progesterone is the hormone that actually gives us a very specific neurotransmitter. When progesterone is high, you also get a neurotransmitter called GABA. And GABA is the neurotransmitter that calms you. So for women after 40, we have a really tricky situation here because we don't even have the right hormone to get us to sleep. We also see a decline in estrogen that's making us more insulin resistant. And because we're not getting ourselves a good night's sleep, not from a lack of trying, we are missing out on the ability of the body to burn fat. So we end up gaining weight. Can you see how it's complex? And it comes from a lot of different angles. So the cup of tea that I want you to drink before you go to bed is Kava tea. And I've done some videos here on Kava because I think it's an incredible substitution for your declining progesterone if you're a woman. That when progesterone goes down, so does GABA. And when GABA goes down, our anxiety goes up and we have difficulty sleeping. And the very interesting thing about Kava tea is that it actually is high in something called kavalactones. And kavalactones activate GABA receptor sites the same way that progesterone activated GABA receptor sites. So this is why I'm going a little crazy on Kava tea right now, because I think it's an incredible resource and substitute for progesterone as you're losing progesterone. So there was a 2001 study that was done in the Human Psychopharmacology Journal, and the researchers gave Kava to people with insomnia due to chronic stress. And what they found is that not only did Kava tea bring down cortisol levels, and also over time, by the way, this is again one of those things that you're going to want to drink this cup of tea on a regular basis, not, a cup every night. But not only did it bring cortisol levels down, but it started to change self-reported stress. And then the study goes on to say it also improved sleep quality. So it improved both REM sleep and deep sleep. So that's amazing for one cup of tea. We also have evidence from a 2004 study in the Journal of Affective Disorders that Kava reduced sleep disturbances, and it dramatically improved specifically deep sleep, that part of sleep that gets you detoxing. Now, what can you expect with Kava? So put in the comments if you are somebody who's used it on a regular basis. Maybe you've been seeing my videos and you're getting as excited about Kava tea as I am. And so what can you expect? And Kava tea is really interesting. It tastes kind of earthy. It's not horrible tasting. It tastes earthy, and it takes about 20 minutes for it to kick in. So it's not like you're going to drink it and fall asleep. So you might want to do it as part of a bedtime routine. It also can make your tongue a little numb. So just be, aware that if your tongue goes numb, I don't want you freaking out and be like, oh my God, I listened to Dr. Mindy's video. Now I'm sleepy and my tongue is numb. What's going on with me? So please know that you've been warned, and the numbness usually kind of comes and then it goes. So take it as a part of that bedtime routine. We've talked about bedtime routines a lot on this channel, and I really like, along with Kava tea, you could try some magnesium, because magnesium also can relax you and put you in more of a parasympathetic state. And if you mix that with no intense conversations, not a lot of stress before you go to bed, not a lot of blue light, now you're setting up a routine where the body can fall asleep and get this really good sleep quality. Now, I've brought you a lot of the videos that I've done. I've really talked about how cortisol is the enemy of weight loss, and cortisol is that hormone that comes out when we are stressed, when we are feeling overwhelmed. And so Kava can also be good for bringing cortisol down during the day. And anytime you have too much cortisol, the body has to figure out what to do with that. So what it's going to do is it's going to store it as fat. So there was a study in Obesity Research Journal that found that high cortisol levels correlated to weight gain in women, and particularly around the belly. So when we're looking at, especially my perimenopausal and menopausal friends, is that when you're looking at, you lose the hormone like progesterone to calm you, you are under, for a lot of us, this is a hard time of life when we're in that perimenopausal years. We're empty nesters. We're transitioning out of careers or into careers. It can be a very stressful time, and you don't even have the hormones that are going to be able to help you manage that stress. And when you can't manage stress, your body lives in a cortisol saturated state. And in that cortisol saturated state, it's going to take all that extra cortisol and it's going to put it around your belly. So when we start to look at implementing something like Kava tea on a regular basis, you can start to see that it becomes this incredible weight loss tool. And we, again, more studies going, a cancer prevention research study, I loved this one, saw that Kava tea lowered plasma cortisol levels. So Kava lactones stimulating GABA receptor sites, bringing down cortisol, improving sleep quality, specifically deep sleep, which is what you are, where you're going to detox yourself, putting you in a state that you are going to be able to get a good quality sleep so you can stop accumulating fat while you're sleeping. You can do the opposite. You can start to burn fat. Now, I know a lot of you are probably going to ask me, like, well, which Kava tea? I have a couple of favorites. I will put links in the notes. True Kava has some really good Kava teas. Kauai Pharmacy, which I've brought you before, also has some good teas. Again, I will put them in the links. But you can also, a popular brand is Yogi Tea. A lot of you can find that. Might not taste like amazing, but if you put a little bit of raw honey with it, it can actually really help the taste quite a bit. And, sometimes when I'm doing Kava tea, sometimes I just down it so that I can get all the benefits that Kava tea can give me. Okay, you know how when you're trying to get in and out of fat burner, sugar burner, and sometimes you struggle? It might be that you have a metabolic blocker that's at play here. Want to know what those blockers are?
click on the link above and I'll take you straight to a giveaway and you can have my list of metabolic blockers.
So again, I hope that makes sense, and I hope you're connecting the dots that I'm leading you through here, because it's not like Kava tea is like some miracle tea, but it is a miracle when you put it in the context in which I have given you. It can be a fat loss miracle that way. Now, I want to dive in. I've been doing more questions for you all, and I've been getting great feedback from you. So I want to dive into 3 specific questions that were asked. Some of these questions have come from my Reset Academy. That is a closed membership group. If you want to join me over there, me and my team are leading a lot of different fasting adventures, and I'm in there answering live questions to people. So if you need more questions answered, that's a great place to join us. But for the sake of this video, here are the 3 questions I want to address today. So the first is, when I am doing a 36-hour fast, sleep is more difficult. Do you have any suggestions? It's a great question. And I would say what I want you all to know, those of you that are doing longer fasts, is I want you to realize that when you go into fasting, you are going into a healing state. When you are sleeping, you are in a healing state. So a lot of times the body doesn't need as much sleep because you're already putting it in a very similar healing state during the day. Now mix that with the fact that we get energy when we fast, especially in the longer fasts. We also get a lot of repair in those longer fasts. So, when we first started doing fasting as a community years ago here on YouTube, I really saw that there was a pattern where people who fasted longer, so 36 hours would be a longer fast. Anything over 24 hours, in my opinion, is a longer fast. And that there was a lot of repair going on, and that led to a lot of musculoskeletal pain, a lot of achiness in the low back, some knee pain. But specifically, when we start to do some of the longer fasts, like 3-day water fasts, we started to see a pattern that a lot of women who have had children, that have carried and birthed children, had a lot of pelvic pain in the longer fasts. Well, remember, fasting is a healing state. And so when you go into these longer fasts, the body will heal itself. And when it heals itself, sometimes healing doesn't feel so good, and that can pull you out of sleep. So a classic healing state that we don't give enough credit to is a fever. Nobody loves a fever. It's painful. It makes your body ache. It's not an enjoyable experience. But what your body's doing is healing. It's raising its temperature so it can burn out an infection. The same thing is happening with fasting, is that you are in this healing state. And so you might not need as much sleep. You might be a little bit uncomfortable. You might have some achiness, and the body is repairing itself. So we often want all the benefits of healing without the pain of it. And it's like anything else in life. We got to microdose little small amounts of pain sometimes to get to the other side of healing. Second question was, what happens if I don't get enough sleep? Well, I can tell you, as somebody who has worked with patients for over 25 years, the hardest person to heal is the one that doesn't get enough sleep, because you are literally missing out on a time period in which the body repairs itself. So remember, everything I'm teaching you here is that your body has a self-healing, many self-healing processes inside it. And like a fever, like I mentioned, is a self-healing process. Fasting, when we go into a fasted state, it's a self-healing process. Sleep is a self-healing process. When you go to sleep, when you are about an hour into sleep, your body will start going through every organ system, and it will start to identify cells that it need to either be killed and removed from your body or repaired to make a better cell. So there's some really interesting teachings on the fact that like 2 hours after you sleep, we start to see your digestive system repair. A lot of you, if you're waking up at 2 and 3 in the morning, that's the time when your adrenals and your liver are repairing. As we get closer to the 5 o'clock hour, deep sleep, the pancreas repairs. So there's like a full-on inventory that your body starts to take when it's sleeping of what needs to go and what needs to be repaired and what needs to be improved. So if you're not sleeping, you're not getting all of that. And that's why it's so incredibly important to get enough sleep. And then the third question is a question I get a lot, which is, what do I do if I'm a healthcare worker and a shift worker? What's best for our overall health? Well, you want to try to bring some circadian rhythm back as much as possible. So when you get home, you want to make sure there's some routine around movement, around when you eat, and around light. I did an amazing podcast with Sachin Panda, the circadian rhythm expert. I was going to say of the world, but he's definitely a top specialist. And we talked a lot about circadian rhythm. We talked about how do you balance that. And it really is when you eat, when you get light, and how you move. So make sure if you are a healthcare worker and you're getting that night time, you're awake at night, when you get home, you're going to want to make sure that the lights are down. You're going to want to make sure that you're not being exposed to a lot of blue light. Get yourself a good 6 hours. And then when you wake up, you want to move, you want to walk, you want to get good light. When you're going to sleep, even though the morning light is coming up, you might get some red light to get some melatonin going in your body. So you're going to have to create your own circadian rhythm. And with that, hopefully you will be able to pop into sleep and get the same nourishing sleep that we're all getting from going to sleep when it's dark out. So that's just a few ideas that I have for you. I don't know if this person who asked this question is a man or a woman, but I will tell you that I wrote a book called The Menopause Reset. And in that book, I have a whole chapter on sleep. And I put every sleep hack I ever knew, how to get your rhythm with sleep back. So you can check out The Menopause Reset if you haven't ordered that, wherever you get books, and read that chapter, and you can look at all my hacks there. So let me know if that helped. Again, I do these videos for all of you. So if you need more information on or you want your questions to be answered, feel free to leave that question here in the comment section, and my team will bring it to me, and I'll do a video on it. So, but whatever you do, I really don't want you giving up on yourself. I hope you know that. But I also want you to understand yourself, because chronic disease, weight gain, depression, exaggerated menopause symptoms, all of that is because we don't understand how this incredible body works that we are blessed to live in. So I'm really here on YouTube and in my books to teach you how your body works. So let me know if it helps. I love your comments. And, as always, we are more powerful together. But whatever you do, don't give up on yourself. You're truly a miracle. I hope that helps.
Okay, you're not losing belly fat. I get it. Watch this video so you know exactly how to get rid of your belly fat. So I really want you to remember that cortisol and belly fat, those go hand in hand. So as your belly is growing, it's not always diet related. It can also be stress related.